How's it going, everyone? Okay, so summer's coming around the corner and your GPU is heating up your room big time because you do not have AC. What do you do? Well, there's a few options. So here we are in Marvel Rivals, and we're going to go over a couple of things. So we have Marvel Rivals open with GPU monitor dash overclocker called MSI Afterburner. I am using River Tuner to show the frames and the temperature. So as you can see here, power limit is all the way up. That's it. Fan speed is on auto. We're going to look at temperature and then we'll do some overclocking to make sure it's a little bit better.
The enemy has arrived.
So right now we're looking at about 150 frames, 66, 67 degrees Celsius. 67, so the temperature did go up just a little bit. And it looks like the fan speed is going to go up as it goes up. If you do not like the fan speed too high, this might be an also alternative for you, especially if you have a NVIDIA GPU. You can do undervolting with AMD graphics cards, but it doesn't really matter about undervolting. It will still produce heat. The memory chips in it is GDDR6 on the new 9070 XT and 9070s. And for like a 30 series, 40 series, 50 series cards, it is a hot GPU as well. And the new 50 series cards with GDDR7 is quite hot. So what we're going to look at here now is MSI Afterburner. We'll just put everything to normal and we'll check to see the temperatures. So the temperature dropped about, I'll say about 1 degree so far. Just good. So you're going to drop about 1 degree, 2 degree, just on normal temperature. Fan speed, again, still on auto. One thing that we can do here to help the actual temperature dash, a little bit of the actual sound. So again, if you are sensitive to the sound, let's say, as in you don't like the sound of the fan speed, especially some graphics cards can be absolutely insane and be very, very hummy or very just loud and annoying. So what we can do here is we can set just to 65 on that, and then it won't go past 65 as well. So 65 fan speed, and it's around 65 degrees Celsius right now. Again, this is all just normal for NVIDIA graphics cards, basically stock settings. What else we can do to help lower the temperature but not lose too much frame? Again, right now we're sitting at about 200 plus frames per second. It will drop a little bit during the hard parts down to about 150. And we will go to now the memory clock. So the memory clock isn't going to matter too much for gaming. So if we just lower the memory clock and then go back in, the temperature will go down quite a bit. Not from the GPU core, but more or less from the actual actual memory. The memory chips themselves produce quite a bit of heat. They don't use a lot of power, they just produce a lot of heat. So again, as you can see, we are around 67 degrees Celsius, right around 150, 160 frames. Again, it will go up depending on what we're looking at. If we're looking at the portals and stuff like that in this game, and other games are kind of similar. There are some rough spots in the game where your frames will just drop down. So if we look at the actual portal here, we're running around 150 to about 160 frames per second. Again, it all depends on how much action is actually going on. We're about 67 degrees Celsius. So what we can do here is actually just raise the core clock. We can raise the core clock to, we'll say 100 on the core clock. What we do is lower the power limit down to about 90. If we lower that down to about 90 and then go back into the game, we'll go back over to the portal. Eventually things will start to cool down too, so we'll go back to the portal. As you can see, we're not really losing a lot of frames by doing that. So around 67 degrees Celsius, core clock is plus 100, but the power limit's only at 90, so that helps a lot. And then the fan speed is only at 65, so 65 on the fan speed, so it's not going any higher than that. And that's just for noise. It's just strictly for noise. What can help lower the temperatures of the actual GPU. Hi, Jeff. He's right.
My hunt
So
continues.
we lowered the power limit to 90 and then raised the core clock up. And this won't raise the GPU temperature really past 70 degrees Celsius. And this is with really good sound, so that way the GPU is not very loud, right? So fan speed is only at 60. What I like to do is put the fan speed on my GPU to 75, because that actually is not loud on mine. What is loud on my GPU for fan speed is 85. As soon as it hits 85 percent on the fan speed, it gets very loud. And I'm going to put the mic over to the actual GPU so everyone can hear it. So as you can see, it's not too loud on the fan speed on my GPU. Again, it could all depend on the GPU that you're using on the fan speed. You're going to try to find a fan speed that works for you. So if it's not too loud, that's perfect. If it's loud, you can turn it down and follow some of these steps, and it'll actually help cool down the GPU, which in turn can help cool down your room. So instead of having the core clock plus 100, we're just going to go 0 on the core clock and keep the power limit to 85, which should be plenty for gaming. And if we watch the temperatures, and we'll go back into Doom Match here. And as before, we were hitting up to 67 degrees Celsius on basically normal settings, plus 100 on the core, lower it down to 90 as well at 65. But now the fan speeds are at 75%, which is not much. It's not much louder. It's not much louder, so that's really good.
Here they come.
And we're going to go back out and we're going to look for Portal. Because if we look at a portal, you'll notice that the frames go down to about 150 to 160, depending on, how much action's going on. It's generally around 160. As you can see, the GPU temperature is only 61 degrees Celsius, which is very, very good. Now, let's say you're having really bad hotspots. So if you use hardware info or hardware monitor, I like to use hardware monitor just because it shows stuff a lot easier for everyone that I'm streaming to. A lot of people don't use hardware info or are really tech savvy. So what I'll use is hardware info. It helps show a lot of things that is very easy to see for people. So I'll show hardware info here. Make this a bit smaller, and what I'll do is this. So I have hardware info here up for everyone to see. And what you're going to notice is CPU temps are right around 64 degrees. That's hit at 74 just because I had other things loaded in the background while the game's running. And we can scroll down to the GPU here. And with hardware info, you can see the memory temperatures and the GPU temperature and then the hotspot. What we're going to be looking at is the hotspot as well. So we're going to go back over to the portal here.
This should be easy.
So if we look at the portal, should be around 150, 160. Again, we're only at 61 degrees Celsius just by raising the fan speed by 10%. So that's all you have to do to help lower the temperature of the core, which in turn can help cool down the memory temps as well. So what we're looking at here is right around 58 on the GPU up to 61, and memory is around 72 and a hotspot of 72 as well. So as you can see, very, very good. Very happy with the way this looks. Now what I'll do here is open up MSI Afterburner again so you guys can all see that. So we have MSI Afterburner up again. We're going to go look at a portal, which is right around here. We should be around 160-ish frames per second right now. And what we want to look at again is the power limit. The power limit's only at 85, and we're getting still really good frames. So you can lower the power limit down, lower the memory clock. The memory clock will help cool down the memory quite a bit. And when I say quite a bit, if you do not have like copper modded or have really good thermal pads on the memory chips themselves, then you will get very, very high memory temps, which can go up to 100 degrees to 110 degrees Celsius just on the memory temp alone.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man.
So we're gonna try to make it so we can actually do some videos here and look at Portal. Again, we should be right around 160. Again, it's all portals on this game. So we're gonna look at again the MSI Afterburner. Memory temp or memory clock you can lower down, it's just fine. Core clock, we can raise the core clock up to we'll say plus 75 to plus 100 depending on the GPU you have. And then we can go back into the game here and you'll see that we're around the same, but we'll raise the temperature will go up just slightly. Not a whole lot, not a whole lot at all. And that's due to the fact that the memory temps are being cooled down quite a bit. And that's what we want. We want the memory temps to be cooled down as much as possible to help keep the core colder. If you can keep the core colder, the fan speed doesn't have to go as high, but if you set the fan speed to where you can tolerate it and then tune it to where you like it, this works very, very well. Raising the core voltage on certain cards don't work. It's best to keep the core voltage all the way down. That will help keep your temperature down as well. What we can do as well is lower down the power limit just a little bit more, keep the fan speed the same, keep the core clock the same, and again, we'll still be hitting right around the same frames, which is absolutely awesome. If you can keep the GPU temperature cooler, you don't have to overclock at all. It will automatically boost itself up higher, which is great. It's actually awesome how it does that. GPU boost, right? It's just a boost for GPU, especially NVIDIA. It works very, very well. For AMD cards, a lot of people would think undervolting helps cool it down. It technically does not cool it down, especially with these newer cards. I do have a lot of people in the Discord channel, my Discord channel. So if you join the Discord, we have people with 9070 XT. They do the undervolt. Temperatures are about the same. They're about the exact same, but seems to help boost the core clock quite a bit, which actually helps quite a bit as well for performance. So again, if you do these steps here or just find the fan speed you want and lower the power limit down, it will not change a whole lot. As long as you raise the core clock up a bit, it will not change the frames in game quite drastically as you would think. And lowering the memory speed as well, the memory clock, will just help overall keep the GPU cooler, as in the GPU core cooler. So if you do like auto fan speed, don't have to worry about the temperatures and that. Then it will actually help keep the fan speed lower. So if you again don't like loud fan speeds, then keeping to fan speed to auto, lowering the memory clock, just a little bit there. It's not a whole lot. You don't have to lower the memory temp crazy amount. So again, this test here just shows that if you lower the memory clock down and raise the core clock up a bit, set a fan speed, or if you're one of the people that like to keep on auto, you keep on auto, just lowering the actual memory clock down as low as it can go. It will not change your frames drastically as what some people might think. It works quite well, and lowering the power limit down to 85 or even 90 will actually help lower the temperatures quite a bit as well, which in the summertime for some people that do not have AC, this will help a lot. You don't have to do any kind of overclocking of any sorts. You basically downclocking it in ways you're downclocking it. You're just lowering the power limit. You can raise the core clock, as I said, to help mitigate some of the power limit loss. It's kind of like undervolting, but this is for like NVIDIA GPUs. If there's any other kind of videos you'd like to see like this, let me know in the comment section below. Again, thank you all for watching. Thank you to my viewers, subscribers, and donators. You guys are helping out this channel greatly. So again, as always, don't forget to get her done.